Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. Today we will be talking about all the possible outcomes of the 2024 presidential election, how Joe Biden could win, how Donald Trump could win, and we will be going through the electoral map scenarios that could produce the results. So the states that are already filled in, which gives Trump 251 electoral votes, Joe Biden 191, 270 are needed to win, are all the states where they are certain to go to their respective candidate in every single scenario. These are the states where I at least don't possibly see a scenario where they could possibly flip to the other side, the opposite side that they are currently characterized in. Now, notably, you've got a lot of your traditional safe states. But, good for Donald Trump, you actually do have some swing states like Texas and Florida, North Carolina, Ohio, at least some years ago. Those used to be considered swing states. And most notably, Georgia. Georgia is red right now because I don't see a possibility right now where Georgia does go to Joe Biden, and that is because, or it's significant, I should say, because this was a Biden state in 2020. In the last election, Georgia voted for Biden by 0.24%. So it, not even in, at least my opinion, not even being in consideration to go to Biden in any one of these scenarios, it's very significant. So with that being said, as you can see, we have a handful of states that are not filled in. So these are the states that will decide these election outcomes. But as you can see, Donald Trump, off the bat, at a very good position compared to Joe Biden, at least. Again, 270 electoral votes are needed to win. He already has 251, so he only needs to gain 19 more. You have your traditional swing states, and then, rather than some more red states like North Carolina, Georgia, Florida being toss-ups as well. No, they are going Donald Trump, but instead, very Democratic states are now, in some scenarios going to Donald Trump. They are not filled in yet, like Maine at large, or New Hampshire, or Virginia, Minnesota, or New Mexico. So I have outlined basically all of the possible scenarios that I see right now. So starting with Joe Biden, we see that he only has really 5 realistic scenarios, and one of them is very iffy, but I guess I could maybe see it. And then as for Donald Trump, he has 10 scenarios where he wins. So Donald Trump, has double the paths to victory, basically, that Joe Biden does, meaning that as of right now, according to me at least, he has double the chance of being elected president. So, looking at Joe Biden's first scenario, I know you can't see it that well, but this is basically if he shocks everyone and manages to carry all but one of the swing states that he won in 2020. So this would mean winning all of the pretty Democratic states that polling is indicating is close. That's New Mexico, Nebraska 2nd District, Minnesota, Virginia, New Hampshire, and Maine. That would mean winning all of those. And then that also means carrying Nevada, Arizona, Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania. As I said, I think Georgia is out of reach. Now, this is the iffy scenario. Is it possible? Yes. Is it likely at all? No way. This has a very small chance of occurring. This right now is Joe Biden's absolute best case scenario. This is the possibly best scenario that he can do in this 2024 election map. Still, Georgia, I believe, is out of reach. And then you get to some more realistic scenarios, but they do produce Biden wins. So looking at some of these scenarios. Now, the most likely is the following. The most likely way, if Joe Biden, I should put it this way, if Joe Biden is reelected in 2024, this is how he would most likely do it, and it is incredibly close. It is carrying the very Democratic states, as I listed before. There are 5. Same again, New Mexico, Nebraska 2nd, Minnesota, Virginia, Maine at large, New Hampshire, I guess 6 if you count Nebraska 2nd. It would be, of course, carrying all of those because, I'll say this, in every scenario where Biden wins, he has to carry those 6. I mean, that is mandatory. And then it is also carrying the blue wall. That's Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania. So that means that Trump wins Nevada and Arizona. So this is how Biden wins. That, winning the blue wall plus the blue states gives him 270 electoral votes to Trump's 268. 270 is the minimum you need to win. You know, it's 270 to win, and he does get 270. So if Joe Biden does win, this is how it would most likely be. Now, some other scenarios, you know, that's that scenario. Some other scenarios I think is possible is that Biden carries Nevada. That would put him at 276, a little more comfortable lead, as well as carrying all the others. And then, you know, Nevada and Arizona, I currently have, you know, just about an even margin for Trump. I currently think that Trump wins in both. But the point is, Biden basically has, you know, the same chance of winning Nevada as he does in Arizona. So I could very well see Arizona go blue while Nevada goes red. So what that would produce is a Biden win at 281 to Trump's 257. That's that scenario to the right there. And then our final Biden win scenario is one that I actually do think is possible, but not enough people are talking about it. That is Biden carrying very narrowly the state of Arizona. I'll mind you, he won it in 2020, as well as Nevada, Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania, Georgia. That would mean carrying Arizona, and then Trump taking Nevada and Wisconsin. Because, you know, Wisconsin, out of the blue wall states, Wisconsin was the smallest margin for Biden. Of the 6 core swing states, that being Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania, Georgia, Arizona, and Nevada, Wisconsin was the 3rd smallest. So, you know, Wisconsin could very easily go to Donald Trump, and I definitely wouldn't argue that much with the fact that, or if someone said, Biden has a better chance in Arizona than Wisconsin. You know, many people see the blue wall as his path to victory. I currently think that is the most likely, I must say. But Arizona is not out of the question, and he could win by winning Arizona, and so losing Nevada and Wisconsin, and that puts him at 271 electoral votes. So that's it for the scenarios where he wins, and then we move on to all the scenarios where Trump wins, and there are many, many more because, you know, looking at his national numbers real quick, he's at 3.7% in the average of polling. On average, Biden in this time, at this day, in 2020, Biden was ahead by 8.8. So he's doing, you know, some 12 points better in 2024 than he was in 2020, and that is just going to be so hard for Biden to overcome. And, you know, it does look increasingly like he will be dropped from the ticket, but that's the purpose of another video, of course, which I have made. So starting off, you know, we started it for Joe Biden. We started off with his very best case scenario, and now we're going to start with Donald Trump's best case scenario. Of course, Biden's best case scenario was winning all of the toss-up states that I've listed here, and of course, Donald Trump's best case scenario is that same thing, but for himself. That means winning Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania, Arizona, and Nevada, the traditional swing states. But it also means carrying all of the blue states that are looking increasingly competitive. You know, polling is indicating that these states, New Mexico, Nebraska 2nd, Minnesota, Virginia, New Hampshire, and Maine at large could all be competitive. So that just gives him an absolute electoral landslide at 347 electoral votes to Biden's 191. That would be an absolute blowout. Very unlikely, but possible. Definitely a path to victory for Donald Trump. And then, of course, you know, we have these scenarios where we just chip away one by one at these numbers. We have the scenario, I think, is the next most likely after this, where Maine goes Democratic. I think that of all of the toss-up states, if one were to go to Biden first, it would be Maine or New Mexico. So then, of course, I do have New Mexico next, going to Joe Biden. Now that puts Trump at 340 to Biden's 198. And then next up, we have the state of New Hampshire falling to Joe Biden. So that reduces Trump's electoral vote count to 336, Biden to 202. So Biden is slowly gaining, but still Trump leads. And then we have the next most likely state I feel to go to Biden, that being Minnesota. That goes to Biden. That now puts Trump at 326, Biden at 212. Next up is let's see. Okay, so then we have Virginia. I messed up here, though. We have Virginia falling to Biden. That puts Trump at 313, Biden at 225. And then you've got, then you enter swing state territory. So you've got Wisconsin and Pennsylvania both going to Biden. This is, you know, definitely And then, of course, you have to add in Nebraska second, because out of these states, you've got Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, Nebraska second, which is Democratic, is going to fall to Biden way before Wisconsin and Pennsylvania. But still, this is a path to victory for Trump. Biden wins all of the blue states, as well as Wisconsin and Pennsylvania. Now, this is a very interesting path. I could see it playing out, though. And this would give Donald Trump a relatively narrow victory of 283 electoral votes to Joe Biden's 255. And that is done by carrying Michigan, as well as the Sun Belt, Nevada, Arizona, Georgia. So even if Biden carries the blue states and Wisconsin and Pennsylvania, Trump still wins with the state of Michigan. Then moving on now, you could change up the order a little bit in the blue wall. Trump still carries the Sun Belt, but you could have Biden carry Wisconsin and Michigan, but Donald Trump win the state of Pennsylvania, which I think is possible. That puts him at 287, Biden at 251. So Wisconsin, Michigan, and the blue states go to Biden, but as long as Trump wins the Sun Belt and Pennsylvania, he wins. You could just see how better positioned Donald Trump is to win this election. He just has so many more paths to victory than Joe Biden. Now moving on to another scenario. Now this is definitely, I feel, the most realistic as of right now. This one is my current prediction. This is the Sun Belt going to Trump, the blue wall, or not the blue wall, but just the blue states, Minnesota, New Mexico, etc., going to Joe Biden, and then the blue wall going to Donald Trump. That's Wisconsin, that's Michigan, that's Pennsylvania. So you have 6 states from 2020 flipping. The 6 battleground states that brought Biden to victory in 2020, that flipped from 2016 to 2020, now flip back. This is my current prediction. This is how I think things will play out. That puts Donald Trump at 312 electoral votes, Joe Biden at 226. Then you have another scenario where Joe Biden takes Michigan and Pennsylvania. I think that this is in the realm of possibility. It looks increasingly unlikely that Biden carries any of the 6 core battleground states from 2020. However, it is very possible that he does win. If he does win any, it would be Michigan and Pennsylvania. So if he does, Trump wins a narrow victory, 278 to 260, but still a victory. So those are the possibilities. Those are the possible outcomes, I should say, for Donald Trump and Joe Biden in the 2024 election. These are the election map possibilities. In my opinion, I don't think that, this could really go any other way than the outcomes that I listed. So it'll be interesting to see how it plays out and which one of those outcomes actually does happen. Again, this is the map that I'm leaning towards, which does give Trump a victory, 312 to 226. So thank you all for watching this video. If you enjoyed, make sure to subscribe down below. It helps out a lot. We're trying to get to 10,000 subscribers. That's the goal. Drop a comment, to let me hear your thoughts. And I will see you all next time.